Hello, everyone. Good morning. Happy Sunday. It's good to see you guys. How are you guys doing? Hope you had a good rest of your day yesterday. Good to see you guys who are here for the Q&A. Um, Let me just make sure I can see everybody, how I need to see you guys. Okay. So, how awesome was it yesterday? Breaking those patterns of fixed mindset, expanding into growth mindset. Isn't it kind of interesting when you start to notice, like, oh, I'm thinking in ways that are keeping me fixed, that are keeping me stuck. Like I'm fighting for my limitations instead of fighting for what's possible. I always, you guys, the mind is like fascinating. And when you start to understand how it plays into what's happening in your body when you sing, it's like, it's mind blowing because when we change the thinking, we truly, truly do change the singing. So I'm curious, did anybody have a breakthrough on that yesterday? Did anybody notice the ways that fixed mindset had been creeping in to sabotage you? Would anybody like to share? You can just go ahead and put a hand in the raised hand function. Does anybody want to share on the ways that they notice that fixed mindset has been creeping in? And it's okay if you don't. I'm just opening up the channels. You can also feel free to put it in the chat. But keep witnessing the thoughts, guys. Keep witnessing and keep noticing these things because it makes a huge difference. And you know what else makes a huge difference? Doing the repetition and the conditioning of your daily meditation, doing the conditioning and the repetition of your daily practice. So I would love if you guys could just celebrate who has done their meditation today. Put meditation in the chat. Let's celebrate you. Also, who has done their vocal practice in the last few days? Donna, Stelios, amazing, in it to win it. Who's leaned in more to the new technique practices? You know, because like we don't want to leave it in the room, guys. Like that's the thing. Don't leave it in the room. I gave you so many tools this last week. Do not leave it in the room. Like time block it on your calendar and spend a half an hour just tapping in to that new support, to that new sense of resonance space, right? Like time block out the mindset work. It makes a difference. It really does. So celebrating all of you who are continuing to work your tools. I see you and I honor you for that. Okay, so a reminder, this is our Q&A day. So, you know, we're gonna do questions that those of you put in the Facebook group, or also if there's any questions live. I don't know if you guys saw there was a post in the Facebook group. Some of you emailed questions to me, so I'm gonna get into all of that today. And this is a reminder, the safe space that you guys can be vulnerable and be brave. And so please uphold that value while we are all here today. No tolerance for any judgment, criticism, meanness in the chat, okay? Congratulations to Jenna and to Stelios on their enrollment. Congratulations to Donna on her enrollment into the intensive. You guys, buckle up. I cannot wait to work with you. I am so excited. And I'm also really excited to speak to so many of you who have booked a call over the next few days. So just make sure that you put it on your calendar so that when I call, you're expecting it and you're not like, who is this weird number calling me? Okay? Okay. So welcome to our bonus implementation session. I am going to start by just answering some questions that you guys emailed me and put into the Facebook group around the intensive program, so we can just get those out of the way so we can get to your questions around the technique work and the mindset work. So let's just knock these out. So some of you asked, when are the intensive program classes, dates and times? So I'm gonna put this into the chat so you guys have it right now and you can just refer back when our class times are. Somebody asked, what about conflicts, travel, things like that? If you already have travel set up like over the summer, let's say you're gonna be gone for like a week in August, you can start now and we just pause for that week in August, that's fine. If something comes up and like, God forbid, there's like a family emergency, we had a singer who got like really bad COVID and she had to pause for like 3 weeks. she was in the hospital, like, stuff like that. Like if there's a big emergency and you have to pause, like, yes, like we pause. But all of that is to say, it is only 4 months of your life. So what I tell everybody is do whatever you can to make it a priority. But if something happens, like, and it's an emergency, we just pause for that week or month or whatever. If you have to miss like a session here, a session there, we don't pause. That's exactly why we record all of our group sessions and classes and everything. So you will never miss, you'll always get the training. You can always refer back to the recording. Somebody else asked, can we pay as we go? Yes, that's why we have the 4-month payment option. So it's $18.97 a month, and you can pay as you go, just like that. If you have other more specific questions related to like your personal finances and situation, just get on my calendar for a call and we can, talk it out and see if there's maybe something else we can work out. Ashley, if you would put the call link in the chat for anybody who wants to discuss something more specific to your financial situation and how we can work something out. That said, like, just use the link and we'll talk it out. Somebody else asked, how big are the groups and do you take time during each group to call for each person? The groups are small. We keep the group nice and small. We never have more than about 10 to 12 people in the program at any time because it's a lot of individual attention and it fluctuates. There could be 6 in the program, there could be 8, but we cap it like 10, max 12 because it's a lot of individual attention, and everybody who wants to sing in every class sings in every class, and I have eyes and ears on you every class. And somebody asked, are you actually coaching? Yes, I am actually coaching. So you have my eyes and ears on you in individual coaching in the context of the group twice a week, and you also will get Coach Annie in a smaller group, which is like anywhere between 2 and 4 for what we call a technique pod every other week, which is an even smaller group that she runs that she's checking in on you. Yes, so you have me and you also have Annie. Somebody else asked, can I work with you privately in one-on-one private voice lessons? And the answer is no. I think I still have that. You can inquire upon that on my website just because I've been so busy, I haven't changed it. But the answer is no, and here's why. It doesn't work. It doesn't work as well. I've coached in that old context of one-on-one training, have a lesson once a week for an hour and do that, until the cows come home. And it doesn't get the same results as working in the intensive because it only addresses one part of the problem. It's just technique. And as you guys have learned over the course of these last 7 days, technique is not optimized in a vacuum. We have to be working 360. And when we work 360, when we're working technique, mindset, and artistry all at the same time, we get massive results in a really short period of time. So I don't work in the old-fashioned way anymore because it doesn't get the same amount of results, and you will end up spending more money in the long run. Like if you think about it, like to work with an expert like me with my amount of training and experience and expertise, when I was coaching one-on-one, like, 8-10 years ago, it's $350 an hour to work with somebody like me. And if you did that once a week over the course of a year, you'd spend way more money and you wouldn't even get close to the same kind of result as we do working in the intensive. So that's why I don't do it. Let me see, what is the other question? Oh, what happens if we join? Somebody asked, what happens if we join and we change our mind? So you guys, within the first 2 weeks of the program, if you're like, you know what, like, this isn't for me, then we just prorate you and we refund you the rest. But if after 2 weeks, you've been in 8 classes with us, you've been in your module work, you've like had access to all the trainings, you know what we're about. After 2 weeks, like we're in, no more refund. But within the first 2 weeks, if you guys are like, I'm not resonating with this, then we just like bless you and prorate and refund you and send you on your way, because I don't want anybody in this tribe who doesn't want to be here. Because the community is a huge part of the results that you all get. And anybody who doesn't want to be here brings down the energy of the group. So I was going to say you have literally nothing to lose. However, if somebody comes in and they don't play full out and they don't give 110% and engage right away, if somebody's just like, well, I just kind of want to see what happens, and okay, let me be a fly on the wall and test this out. And if they're just a fly on the wall and they're not engaging and they're not doing the work and they're not, then this is not an invitation to do that, is what I'm saying, because then you're not going to really know. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's the answer to that question. Let's see. Okay, let me go to my sheet here with the questions that were submitted. Let me open that up. Okay. All right. Let me pull this over where I can see it. Okay. So I am going to go down the list and answer some of these questions. Okay. So Layla, I see you have a ton of questions about soft palate and the technique. So let me go one by one with these. And if I want to kind of hear you rephrase it, if I don't understand, I'll ask you to unmute. So Layla's asking, could you please elaborate on what you mean by hard palate singing? When I attempt it sounds very nasal. Exactly. And when I block my nose to test nasality, hardly any sound comes out. Is it supposed to be nasal? Is the nasal twang and singing into the mask? Okay. So remember, guys, when I was working with Yuval on, I guess it was Friday, or yeah. So I coached you all on soft palate shape and space and stretch, okay? And it sounds like to me, Layla, you are focusing only on the hard palate to the exclusion of your soft palate. So it sounds to me like your soft palate, if it's going into your nose, you do not have any soft palate stretch. The soft palate is low and depressed, which means there's nowhere for the sound to go, and so it goes right out your nose. So if you're just focusing on your hard palate to the exclusion of your soft palate, you're going to get a nasal sound, okay? So the reason I told Yuval about hard palate was because he was in space, inside space, but it was in the wrong place. He was pulling his space like back and down this way instead of tilting it up. So I gave him the idea of tilting up towards his hard palate so that he could get the right shape of the space. But he was already in space, in that smell the brownies like lift of his soft palate. It was just not in the right shape, okay? So this is the danger, you guys, of coaching on slightly more advanced techniques when in a workshop setting that we're doing more foundational techniques, because then Layla, without realizing it, you took this technique, but it was like you started on step 5 without doing steps 1, 2, 3, and 4. So don't worry about hard palate right now for you, okay? For you, you really need to find that soft palate stretch, that smell the brownies, that feeling of like your soft palate, like widening up between your ears and stretching up this way, because that's how we combat a nasal sound. If the soft palate is down and depressed, then it will go into your nose, okay? So don't focus on putting the sound in your mask. Don't focus about putting it in your hard palate. Right now, if you focus on this, it's going to refer, it's going to reflect, it's going to go ping, pong, okay? And then it will end up in your hard palate. But see, Yuval, he couldn't do that because his soft palate wasn't in the right place. It was down here, so it couldn't reflect. So we had to tilt him up, and in doing that, like tell him to move towards his hard palate. So that sort of answers that. How do we achieve a middle ground between inward and outward singing? There is no outward singing, guys. If you think you need to get the sound out, you will, and you will push, and you will force to get the sound out, and that will sabotage all of the apoyo, all of the lean, the flex that you have diligently tried to employ, okay? So especially when you are starting out, the idea of implode is just an energetic idea so that you stop pushing and you stop needing to get the sound out and focus on what's out. So there is no middle ground, Layla. You are always imploding. You are always drinking the sound in. You are always singing to the audience that's behind you. That's how you're going to train your body to stay in this consistency that stabilizes your diaphragm. Okay. Let's see. Next question. Can exercising the breath support muscles around the diaphragm make me support even better? Not really. So it's not, you guys, it's not like doing crunches or doing oblique work or whatever. It's not about the strength of these muscles. I mean, think about it. Pavarotti, like not a guy in good shape, not going to the gym, doesn't have abs, and yet one of the most legendary opera singers who managed his sound and his air so perfectly in his body, okay? It's a coordination. It's not about strength. So if you want to go exercise because that's going to help your overall health just in general, right? But when it comes to breath support, it's about a coordination. It's about a sensory acuity of being able to, so like I wore my white today, guys, so you could see. Let me just move this out of the way. It's about a coordination of being able to know the difference between going, did you see me flex? Like I know what this feels like. I have a sensory acuity. I have a muscle memory. It's isolation and sensory acuity versus I also know what this feels like. That's inefficient. Okay, so it's not about needing to go to the gym for those muscles. It's about being able to do the breath work, do the hisses, do the shushing, go back, redo the training that we did on Tuesday, like get in touch with those muscles independently. And it doesn't matter if you're thin, it doesn't matter if you're fat, it doesn't matter. Those muscles can learn how to work independently, okay? Let's see. Should lifting the soft palate feel like air is getting into the back of the throat? No. Your throat is down here. Soft palate is up here. If you feel like air is getting into the back of your throat down here, then you are probably doing what you've always doing is pulling your space down, and that's gonna get you a very huffy puffy sound. It doesn't sound good, and I'm telling you guys, it doesn't feel good either. So what we're talking about when we're talking about soft palate is it feels like your ears are, it feels like it's up here. It doesn't feel down here. It should feel like your ears are widening away from each other and you're breathing into the space between your ears. It can feel like your molars and your fangs and your hard palate and your soft palate are like riding up into your brain. It's that feeling. It's not a feeling down here in your throat. If you're feeling it in your throat, then you're depressing your tongue and you're pulling your space down, which we don't want. Does the cry count as singing by lifting the soft palate, or does it not count because it uses head voice? So that question lets me know, Layla, that there is some confusion just around head voice in general. So you guys, head voice or chest voice, doesn't matter which register you're in, employs the exact same things. It employs the pulling up of the soft palate, that upside down inside triangle space. To me, it kind of feels like I'm pulling a TP up, like throughout, like my hard palate, my soft palate is like rising up into my brain. And that support in the opposite direction of my lower consistency of flex and flow through those muscles of support, that is what you are doing regardless of what register you are in. Remember, we do not change that opposition regardless if we're changing pitch, changing register, it doesn't matter. I'm doing that whether I'm in head voice or whether I'm in chest voice. And so when we talk about the cry is a feeling of sirening. It's a feeling of consistency. When you cry, if you think about the dog going, right? When the dog is doing that, when I'm imitating the dog doing that, I am consistently moving my opposition away from each other. That's the only way I can make the sound. If I let my support go, it's going to be, That's not how a dog cries. That's not how a dog whines. In order to make that gooey sound, I have to consistently stay in my support instead of. So I start the support to start the cry, but then I let it go. It like flubs down. Okay, so when we're talking about the cry, what we're just talking about is like a little way of helping you to stay in your opposition as you descend. So it's unrelated to whether you're in head voice or chest voice. You want to do that no matter where you are in your range, because you want to stay in that opposition regardless of if you're changing pitch or descending or whatever you're doing. Most singers, as they descend, they let go of their opposition, and then they get right, I'm supporting this pitch and then I let it go to go down, and that's not good technique. That's not efficient opposition or support. Okay, so when I'm coaching a singer to siren or to cry, it's the same thing. It's helping it's helping them to have an image of doing something so that they stay in that opposition. Me, oh, me. If you watch my body, me, oh. What I don't do is me, oh. That sabotage, right? That's not staying in your flex. So I hope that clarifies. What does the concept of imploding while singing mean? Okay, we talked about that because it's the way we combat this feeling of needing to push and get out. So what it really means is that you're bringing the sound to you. It's a mindset concept. It's not something that you're forcing physiologically. If you think, bring the sound to you, implode this way, then your body, because your body's only ever following your mind, your body's not going to go into all those sabotaging things that make you push and force and abdicate all of the support and the technique and the opposition that will get you the sound you want. So it's just a way of helping you to stay in your opposition because it's coming in instead of pushing and going out. Okay. Let's see. Does smiling while singing go against the concept of staying within your embouchures and keeping vertically opened mouth during singing? So you guys, when we're talking about smiling, it's not really about what's going on externally here. It's about what happens internally in that soft palate lift when you are feeling that widening between your ears and that like cheekbones rising up. That when you're doing that, you're pulling the soft palate up. So it's not really about externally smiling. It's just when you're new at this, that helps your physiology hook into what we want internally in the soft palate. Okay, so you will never hear me say to a singer, open your mouth more. You will never hear me say that. Did any of you hear me say that at all over the course of the 7 days? Okay, because if I tell a singer to open their mouth more and keep your mouth vertically open during singing, like Layla's asking in the question, then I'm gonna get a shit ton of tension from that singer forcing their jaw down. Oh! And it's not a good sound. It doesn't feel good. And tension is the enemy of the singer. We know this. We talked about this because now you're enforcing. Okay? And when you force your jaw down to vertically open your mouth when you sing, all of these muscles that are on the side of your jaw connect up internally into your soft palate. And when your jaw is pulling yourself down to because you think that you need to open your mouth more and that's gonna help you, you actually end up sabotaging yourself even more because those internal muscles are connected to your soft palate. And so when you shove your jaw and push your jaw down, you pull your soft palate down, okay? So what we wanna think is we want a soft jaw. We just want the jaw to be soft and released. And when it's soft and released, it will open in the amount that it needs to. This is not your jaw, this is your chin, and most singers get that wrong, and they focus here, and they focus on trying to shove this and open this down. But the jaw doesn't open vertically. It's not, it's on a hinge. The jaw does not open down, the jaw opens back because it's on a hinge. But see, singers don't pay attention to that, so they're focused on how much space they have here, and that doesn't feel good, and it pulls my soft palate down, okay? So when we just think about like the idea of just releasing the jaw and allowing there to be space between the molars, and I'm in my smell the brownies, and now my jaw is soft. And if I feel like I want more space, I'm just gonna release a little more. But don't focus on vertical opening because then all you get is vertical and you pull everything down. It needs to be a plus sign. We need width between the ears, and we need space between the molars. And that's optimal, but we do it through release, not through like needing to keep your jaw open. That will sabotage. Okay. Shouldn't we avoid facial tension while singing and not make too much expression, such as squinting the eyes, lifting the eyebrows, furrowing the eyebrows, crinkling the nose, etc.? Well, sure. You want to be able to do what you need to do internally, right? We don't want to go, or we don't want to go, none of that. So, but your expression is going to be connected to what the story is and what the song is. And your expression comes from your eyes and comes from your heart. So don't focus on what's happening like on your face. Focus on softening, you guys. What I'm trying to teach you is how to be efficient. Less is more. I don't want you squinting your eyes. I don't want you furrowing your eyebrows. I don't want you doing any of that. But smiling does not mean doing that. I'm smiling. That's it. And I let my jaw soften. And now I can sing. Like, I don't look like this. Like, that's not smiling. That's tension. You know what I'm saying? So it's taking these tools, guys, and like not taking them too far to mean what they don't mean. Okay, so I'm glad I can clarify this stuff for you guys. How can we apply breath support to sing legato and staccato correctly? So it's the same support. It's just when you do it legato, you do it over the, like over the course of a whole phrase. When you do it staccato, you do it for one little note. So if I'm flexing and I'm going to do staccato, if I'm flexing through my support and I'm going to do legato, then if you watch my support, it's what you've seen before. So whatever. You see me, I'm stable. I'm not going in and out and moving with the pitch, okay? Versus if I do staccato, you can see tiny, it's so subtle. What I'm not doing is no. I'm flexing, then a little more, then a little more, then a little more, which is why you don't see too much difference. Just going in the same direction, but just with little pulses instead of in, out, in, out, in, out. Okay? So that's a good question about staccatos. Let's see. Celia wants to know, to work on breath control, aside from vocal warm-up, do you advise yoga or Pilates? Because I did both and the breathing approach is not the same in yoga and Pilates. No, it is not the same. And I was wondering if you thought one of them was better for support needed for singing. Okay, neither yoga nor Pilates is going to train your body to do what it needs to do for breath support for singing. Okay, so yoga has different kinds of breathing. Sometimes people do Kapalabhati breathing, which is the right. Sometimes people do in yoga the ocean breath, where you're breath of fire. I forget the actual yoga name, and I'm a yogi. I should know this. These are all fantastic for energy work and body work when you're doing yoga. We don't want to, but none of them is going to help you with singing breath. With Pilates is a lot of core work. There's a lot of work on stabilizing core. That will help in the sense that if you're going to sing, you're going to stand for long periods of time and your core should be strong if you're going to be on stage doing a 2-hour show or something, right? But so there's nothing wrong with doing yoga and Pilates, but neither one of them is going to train your breath support for singing. What will train your breath support for singing is doing the work that I started to give you on Tuesday, learning the difference between flex and contract, getting in touch with the coordination of the muscles of support, and then working with an expert to make sure that you're embodying it correctly in your own body and in your own singing. These are great questions. Okay. Let me go back here. Okay. I see Abby has her hand raised. Yes, Abby, go ahead and unmute. What's your question? So you guys, now we can just go to raised hand. Whoever has questions, just raise hand. Abby, go ahead and unmute. Hello.
Okay. Hi. Yeah, I have a few little ones, but the main one was we talked about today about the diaphragm, because I know that that physically it goes down when you breathe out. I mean, when you breathe in, it goes down, and when you breathe out, it goes up. But you were talking about the opposition, and I'm not sure how that works.
Okay, so there's two parts of the opposition. There's what's happening in the support, which is the the engagement of the lower muscles flexing down and out to keep the diaphragm. The diaphragm will move up when you sing. It will, but we want it to move slowly and gradually and consistently. We do not, without these are the muscles that ensure that gradual rise.
Okay, so you
Okay?
don't feel it going up,
No. I
and
mean,
you can't think it going up.
no, because if you think it going up, your body will start to create that, right? So the downward part of the opposition is about the support, okay? And anchoring that. The upward part of the opposition is your soft palate
Yeah,
and
I
your
got that.
resonance space. So we want to always be moving these two things away from each other over the course of the whole phrase.
So when you're thinking down, you're not thinking about the diaphragm really at all.
You guys, I never think about my diaphragm ever.
Oh, okay,
And
okay.
here's why. Here's why. Because, like I was saying on Tuesday, we don't have a ton of nerve endings in the diaphragm. And so it's really hard to feel it. And then we do all these things to try to manipulate this thing that it's hard to feel, and it just gets all messed up.
That
So
makes
yeah, so you guys, two things. Don't focus on your diaphragm and don't focus on your vocal cords.
right,
Okay.
right.
Well, what we want to do is we want to focus on the two things that affect that, which
That
is
makes that
what's
makes
happening here
that,
and what's happening here. Okay.
yeah, I get it now. And
Cool.
the other questions are about the intensive.
Okay.
I don't understand how long the course is.
4 months.
Okay, 4 months. Does that mean once a week, twice a week? What?
So Abby, I'm gonna refer you to, so I just put into the chat, I don't know if you were in the room. Somebody asked when the classes are. I'll copy this again. So we meet 3 times a week, and you
Okay.
also will have one-on-ones. I just put into the chat. Um, these times you guys are in PST, so you'll have to translate them into your own time zone.
So
But
3 times a week and
yes,
once
yeah, so we meet twice a week for 90 minutes for studio class. So that's get up and sing. It's when I have eyes and ears on you, and you're coaching and your fellows are coaching, and you're learning from your own time and you're learning from them. So that's 90 minutes Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then we have group mindset call, which is not singing, it's just discussion on Friday mornings for an hour. And then you have technique pods, which are smaller groups in which you coach with Coach Annie on the specific technique exercises. I mean, I'm coaching technique with you too, but it's an even smaller group every other Monday. And so that's what I put into the
and they're
chat.
always in the morning. Everything's in the
Um,
morning.
no, because well, it depends on what time zone you're in. What time zone are you in?
Arizona.
Yeah, so Pacific time. These are your time zones. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay,
cool.
so my question is if you have work or something, there's no different times you can choose.
No. And so usually for singers, most of the singers who come work with us are, like I don't want to say already professionals, but are in a situation where they're working towards, and so they're not generally at like a 9 to 5 corporate job. Like
Oh, I see.
if you're
Okay.
at a 9 to 5 corporate job, um, and you really need this work to get out of your corporate job, then get on my call calendar and let's talk. But for the most part, it is just 4 months of your life. And so most of our singers are rearranging what they need to rearrange just for the 4 months. And we
Okay.
record all of our classes. So if you have to come late or leave early or something comes up, you won't
Is
miss.
there like in the group classes up to what, 20 people or
Yeah, so we talked about this. I think you might have, because you were at church. I think yeah. So we cap it between 10 and 12. So it's a lot of individual attention, and so everybody, we keep it nice and small.
when you're meeting once a week for one-on-one, you do that?
You
One
you
on,
have so you have your mindset coach who you meet one on one with every other week, roughly, And you have me working individually with you twice a week in the context of the class. So I'm still working with you individually, but we're doing it in the context of the group.
And that part can be at different times, the two
No,
times.
you're in class. You're in class, in the class times.
No, I mean one on one with you. That can be.
You're not working one on one with me outside the context of the
Oh,
group.
I see. In the class. Okay.
In class. Yes, yes, yes. Good question. And I see Stelios was asking what time. So you guys, the technique pods are every other Monday, and it's just for the first half of the program. It's just the first 2 months of the program because we don't want to leave you on your own to practice too much on your own at the beginning because we know how hard old habits die hard. So we have a lot of touch points at the beginning of the program. So for the first 2 months, we have this technique pod, which we have a bunch of them because they're smaller groups. They're like 3 in the group. And so,
Oh,
so
okay.
we
Okay.
assign you to a technique pod when you come in. And so they happen anywhere from like 10 a.m. Pacific to like 1 or 2 p.m. Pacific. And so like for Stelios, for you, that would be later in the evening. And like I can, when you start Stelios, I can assign you a pod that will work with your Monday night thing. That'll either
But
be
you don't
before.
do anything on the weekend,
No,
obviously.
no, we don't.
Okay, well, I just wanted to know that because if I when I do this, which I'd like to, I would hope that I mean, I don't know how much I can change my life like that, but that's
You
hard
know
to
what? I will tell you this. Like, it's sometimes it's just like forgiveness, not permission. It's 4 months of your life. And I know, like, you teach, and it's like, you know what? For these 4 months, if I have to move some students around, it's not forever. It's just for 4 months. If I have to, because it's like, what else are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like, so that's it. And look, it's not like we're doing this for 4 years. It's 4 months.
Okay, and
And
the
that's
last question is, and I know maybe nobody cares about this, but if it's you pay, let's say monthly for $7,000, that's way too much for me, even for a year. But eventually, I'm hoping I can do that. $7,000 is up to a year you have to pay.
no,
That's
it depends on, okay. So if we offer 4 monthly payments for the 4 months of the program, so that would be 1897 once a month for the 4 months, 4 payments of 1897. We have third-party funding partners like SoFi, like PayPal, where if you wanted, for any of you, if you wanted a longer term of monthly payments to have smaller payments over a longer term, then you would see if you could get approved by one of our third-party financing partners. Then what they do is they pay your tuition to us upfront, and whatever you got qualified for, whether it's, let's say, 24 months at 9% interest or
okay.
36 months at 11% interest or
So
whatever,
it's
then
like
you're
just like a
paying.
credit card. Like,
Well, it's probably gonna be less interest than a credit card, but like it's like a car loan. It's like a car loan. You know what I'm
okay.
saying? You determine the rate and the term, and then you're paying monthly. You're paying it off over that amount.
Who do we talk to about that? I'd like to talk to somebody about
You can talk to me about that, and I
that.
can. Yeah. So actually, you guys, let me. I'm gonna put the link that I wait. Where did that go? I'm gonna put the link in the chat that I from yesterday. Oh, wait, let me grab that. It's in a different a document. So those of you who stayed after yesterday, this is like the doc that I went over, that has the third party funding links. So I'm gonna put this again in the chat.
Oh,
And
is that the one like all the different people that do? Oh, okay, okay.
yeah, if you took that link, this is that link again. I'm gonna put it here. Here. Sorry, it was in the different. Okay,
Like
here's our funding.
rock
This
loan.
is this is our funding resources link. So all of these are third-party funding partners who have financed programs for our singers in the past, and it functions like a financing a car or anything else. You have to apply, they take your credit score and they see what you qualify for, and then either they will approve you or they won't approve you. And if they do approve you, they'll approve you for a certain term at a certain rate, and then you can say yes or no.
Yeah, I'm interested in 2 years, not one. That's the only way I
Yeah,
can.
but you would see what's available to you. Okay, good. I'm glad I could answer all of your questions, Abby.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Okay, I see Valerie has her hand up. Yes, Val. You're muted. You're still muted.
Hi. Okay.
Hi. Good to
Will
see
you
you.
be, yeah, it's good to see you too. Will you be doing another intensive care training program in the future like
Are you
this?
talking about the 4 month program, or are you talking about this little master class?
The master class and then have the 4-month program, like
Right.
kind of the same deal.
Yeah. So the intensive training program is rolling, meaning it's not like we're starting a 4 month block now and you have to enroll now and then we'll start another one in September. It's not like that. It's rolling. So
Okay.
you pick your start date and you start, like, Jen is starting the third week of June. Stelios is starting in 2 weeks from now. So you can come in at any time. The 7 day master classes, we do a few of them throughout the year. I'm not sure when the next one is we're going to do, but since you're now on my email and stuff, just keep your eyes open for the announcement for whenever we do it again. We usually do a few a year, so we'll probably do one more.
Okay, one more question. You said there were 3 people that you were going to do the one-on-one training with, and when I spoke with you before, there was 2 already taken and you had 1 left. Is that still open?
We have one left, but that's for you guys. Got to enroll by tonight. That's a bonus.
By
That's
midnight
just
tonight?
yeah, a bonus for enrollment by midnight tonight. Yeah,
Okay.
good question.
All
All
right.
right. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, of course. Okay, the floor is open. Who else? Questions about anything we coached on this week, or mindset, or anything? The floor is yours. As I said, this is Ask Me Anything Day. So I am at your disposal, as it were. All right. Yeah, Annie.
I was curious as to, I mean, this may be slightly off topic, but I'm curious as to how the play was last night and basically, how your daughter handled or how she's learning how to handle being a supporting role, because there are those chances, like if you audition for something and you don't get the role you want, but you do get another role, what's your best advice about that? And yeah, how was the play?
Well, so first of all, the play was so fantastic because these are like fifth through eighth graders or middle schoolers. And they're still young enough that they haven't internalized fear of being judged or shame. They just get up there and they just like give it, like, and they're not, I mean, some of them are really good and some of them are not, but even the ones who are not, they're like so unapologetic. Like they get up there and they're totally off tune and they're like, here I am in my part, in character, and I'm off tune, and like it doesn't even matter,
Even
and
if they were in the chorus?
yeah, like all of the kids, like all of them, they're all just like, and so what's so cool is to watch them just be in what was so much fun, at least for me, I think for most of the people in the audience, was how much joy there was, because these kids are not up there wondering, did I do it right? Are they judging me? What do people think? Like they're up there like having a ball. And because of that, we're having a ball. Like you guys have probably seen performers like this where they might not be the most amazing, like, vocalist, or they might not be the most amazing like singer on pitch or whatever, but there's something about the joy that they have on stage where it's so unapologetic and it's so like just heartfelt because they're just so in the moment that you forgive them the inadequacies of their instrument and you don't care because you're having a great time because they're having a great time. And so that's really what the show was last night was
Yeah,
so
what you're saying here actually reminds me of I was in a production of The Pirates of Penzance in high school. It was like my favorite musical that I was ever in. I
yeah.
was in the chorus. I would love to have been Edith or Mabel, but I didn't, for that particular show, I didn't even mind being in the chorus because the music was so good. And I mean, it was just, we had a grand time. It was
Yeah.
my favorite.
Yeah. And so it's like that is to me always a huge lesson, you know, which is like we all think we have to be so perfect and we get so in our head about like the way we look, the way we come across, the sound we make, and that reads to the audience. And there was none of that with these kids. They were just like up
That's
there having a ball because they're young enough where they haven't internalized that like inner critic dialogue yet. Give them a few years. By the time they get to high school, different story. Like I've seen the high school productions. It's not the same, you know?
I remember those. Oh, that's
Yeah.
wonderful. I'm glad
But
to
to
hear that.
answer your question about like, when you get a role that's not really what you wanted, you have a choice, you know? You have a choice. As far as I'm concerned, like there's, especially if you're doing this professionally, especially if it's the kind of thing where you're being cast as something and the casting directors and the music director and the overall director, like they're going to get to know you, they're going to know how hard you work, they're going to know what you bring to the table as an ensemble if you show up and play full out and give 110%, so that as you keep working on your craft, as you keep up leveling, when you audition again and you blow them out of the water for a lead this time, they're going to remember how hard you worked,
Yeah,
so
in fact, if I may, I would like to share a story related to that.
yeah.
Because now, when I talk about being in the chorus, I'm not saying that I just want to have chorus parts. In fact, it's just the opposite. I was so tired of always being in the chorus, especially because people were always saying I had the best voice in a
Mhm.
certain production, and I was always like, well, if that's the case, then why am I not getting challenged for the lead parts? And I was in, I might have told you this story a while back, but I was in a production of The Pilgrim's Progress in 2010, and the audition went so well, and everyone, they were just super kind. But when I found out that I was in the chorus, I was like, no. But I was like, hey, am I going to walk out? Because I had done that before. I got the chorus part. I said, nope, not doing it.
Yeah,
Nope.
and you can do that. That is your prerogative. Do you know what I mean? After a certain
Yeah,
period
but
of time, but you also have to look and be like, all right, why am I hitting this ceiling? Is, like get the data, like we talk about, right? Like don't make drama out of it. Like don't make it mean anything about your intrinsic worth, talent, whatever. But like, okay, how am I showing up to these auditions? And also looking at, you guys, like sometimes it's not about your talent actually, especially if you're auditioning for the same casting people and the same music director and the same director over and over and you keep getting put in the ensemble. Like I had a singer who she made a huge story around this and we had to coach her out of it because she was up for, it would have been her first like leading equity role on Broadway, and she got into like final callbacks. It was like between her and three other girls, and she didn't get it, and she really like went off the reservation after that. She made it mean all this stuff and it really took her out, and it was a huge wobble for like several months. And finally we helped her. She got back on track, and she shared this, that she was at some social function, nothing related to singing, and she saw the casting director there. And he was talking with a bunch of people, and he clearly did not remember her at all. And he says to her off the cuff, "You remind me so much of my ex-wife. You think he's gonna
ouch.
you think he's gonna cast her?" Like she could have sang circles around those other people. She could have been the best person. And you know what? It wasn't about her at all. It was about him. and his limitation and his trigger, you know?
Yeah, I mean, what I was going to say though, with regard to the Pilgrim's Progress, was I actually met with the director and the music director. We had a nice lunch at Panera Bread, so we were in a relaxed environment. I just kind of shared my story. I was like, I'm not mad or upset or anything like that, but I just wanted to kind of have a dialogue and let you know where I'm coming from. And I was explaining my frustrations, and I actually had a friend with me who was always a strong advocate. She is, God rest her soul, she's since passed away. But she was also a theater director, and she was there advocating with me. And we just had a wonderful, productive conversation. And after the conversation, I was just like, okay, so I am in the court. I could either walk away because I don't want to be in the chorus, or I could try it. And I said yes. I tried it out. Well, no, I didn't just try it out. I stuck with it. And to my surprise, not only did the director come to a play that I was already in, I had inherited, I mean, I'm sorry the other girl had to drop out, but I inherited two solo roles. I got to play Malice and Vanity Fair and the Celestial Angel. And I would not have gotten that opportunity had I not, had I walked away. So
Right.
that was like one of the
Yeah.
best performances of my life.
So you never know. It's a balancing act. I do know
Don't.
singers like one of our singers, Nyla. She did her Broadway debut playing the best friend in Waitress with a musical not too long ago, and after that, we had to have some huge mindset conversations because she was being offered more ensemble, and for her to step into the leading lady stuff, she had to say no to that. But she'd already achieved that. She'd already achieved that level of um, she was a supporting role and she wanted to step into a lead role, but she wasn't ensemble anymore, so she had her first ensemble role on Broadway, and it was scarcity mindset because she didn't have any leads yet. She wasn't, landing those and being offered those yet. She was being offered ensemble again, and she felt like it was a step backwards, but she was like in the scarcity thinking of, well, what's going to happen? Am I going to pay my bills? Am I going to, and so it's like taking those roles out of scarcity, but then blocking herself from stepping into the leading lady roles that she really wants. And so it's a balancing act of understanding your mindset and why you're doing things. There's a time to say yes. There's a time to say no. Both are complete sentences.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great. More questions, you guys. This is your time. We have 5 more minutes before I get to go to the last production, the matinee with my daughter. Anything else, you guys? Okay. So, you know what? There was one more question from the that was posted that I missed. One of you asked, I need to think about it. Can I do the program if I don't enroll right now? Are there only certain windows we can join, or can I think about it and enroll at a later date? So as I was saying, you guys, the program is here always. You can always come in and enroll, but right now you get a $2,000 discount to do it. So as I've said, our normal program tuition is $9K, but for you guys in the workshop, if you enroll by midnight tonight or you get on my call calendar by midnight tonight, then you get the discount should you enroll this week. It doesn't mean you have to start this week, but like Stelios is starting in June, Jenna's starting in June, but we do the deposit and whatever. So if you don't do that now, then you're back at the $9K tuition whenever you do decide to enroll. But I also want you guys to get that indecision is also a decision. Like not deciding is also a decision. What is it costing you the longer you wait to decide to get help? It's costing you time, money, opportunities. Like how much more information do you need to decide that you want to be on bigger stages doing what you love every day? So not deciding is deciding that you're okay with more of the same. And like I said yesterday, you guys can follow me on social. You can come work with us at any time. You can continue to engage with me and all my content. I will continue to love on you, and all of the free groups that we do, it doesn't cost me anything, but it does cost you. It does. And so the question that might help you get clear is, are you willing to settle for those costs? more auditions where you don't get into the callbacks. Or maybe you do get into the callbacks, but they go with the other guy again, and getting passed over yet again. And having to explain that to your partner or your spouse who's like so burnt out at work because they're still supporting your dreams. Like more time being attached to a side job that you hate because you're not able to book the great paying gigs, or because you can't fill a 200-seat club at $50 a ticket in multiple cities, and how hard that is, like juggling everything, which leaves you less time for yourself, less time for your family, and most importantly, less time for your music. So the money you are not making is a cost to you. And the more time that you spend in your blocks not knowing how to make the impact that brings the gigs, the career, the opportunities you want. You guys, impact equals income. It's that simple. For those of you who are doing this professionally and who need to kick it up a notch, the bigger the impact, the bigger the income. You want a big league career with a big league paycheck, then you gotta learn how to make a bigger impact. And the longer you wait to understand and fix the things that are sabotaging your impact, you guys, you can't get that time back. So are you willing to settle for those costs? If the answer is yes, that's okay. Then it's not the right time for you. I will still love on you in our group and with all my free content. But if the answer is no, and you're not willing to continue to settle for more of the same, and you want big shifts and you're tired of waiting for them, you want results like Carol, like Amy, like Simon. There's no other approach that is this effective. There isn't. I have been a student in them all, and I have coached in them all. So when you train with us, when you train with me and you train with my team, you get a hands-on results-based approach that works with you to implement all the techniques and the tools that you need next. We're not like leaving you hanging in the wind to figure all this out on your own. This is a long-term sustainable approach. It's not like the vocal fad of the day, because you have a holistic 360-degree support system to help you embody the skill set, the mindset, the artistry that creates unstoppable singers. I see it every day. So if you want the tuition discount and the other bonuses, take care of your enrollment by midnight tonight. And Ashley just put the link in the chat. That's the link where you can take care of your enrollment. So you'll go there, you'll pick your payment plan, then you'll be taken to a page to get on an onboarding call with me where we'll set your start date and we'll get you all set up. If you still have some lingering questions, you feel like the program is for you, but you have some questions, get on my calendar by the end of the day today. And if you do end up enrolling by the end of the week, then you still get the bonus discount tuition, okay? So the link to book a call for that discovery call, Ashley just put in the chat. Those of you who have been here all week and you've been so engaged, if you're not on my calendar, oh my goodness. Like, I see so many of you, like, Arista, why aren't you on my calendar? Maybe you are, maybe I didn't notice, if it's my bad. Peter, Margaretta, Kevin, I've seen you every day this week. Why aren't you on my calendar? Like, you guys, let's talk it out, okay? If this is for you, then we'll make a plan. And if it's not, that's okay too. So you guys have the link to get the call. You guys have the link to take care of your enrollment if you feel aligned and you want to get rocking. It has been an absolutely amazing week to get to spend with you guys, to watch your ahas and your breakthroughs. I mean, it never gets old for me. Never, ever. Like, you guys are my North Star to make sure that you understand that there is a better way to train that gets results so that you don't just sound better, but that you feel better in this journey so you can go out there again and again and again and kill it. So be sure to grab any of the replays that you missed. They're only available until midnight tonight, so you can download them. Also, make sure you download the homework MP3s and the PDFs before they go away at midnight tonight after the workshop. Stay active in the Facebook group. I will continue to see you guys in there. I go live every Monday with like a little technique topic or a little mindset topic. Yeah, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday, everybody. I look forward to speaking with those of you who have calls. So, mwah, mwah. Thank you for your time and for showing up for yourself. And I will see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.